The Tennessee Titans have been one of the bigger surprises in the NFL this year. At 7-5, led by rookie quarterback Cam Ward, the Titans are currently positioned for a playoff spot in the AFC. Today, Ward will face off against his good buddy and fellow rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders, who made his first two career starts in the last episode, losing to the Raiders and beating the 49ers in two games that literally could not have gone any different. We've got a prospect profile in today's episode. We're going to be going through tight ends, offensive line, and defensive line. So a lot to go over here in this one for the now 3-9 Cleveland Browns, who are tied with the Saints and the Jets for the worst record in the league. And if the draft ended today, we would have the third overall pick. And keep in mind, this is kind of a three-player draft in terms of the quarterbacks. We just saw Brendan Holloway and Zarius Stone play against each other in the first round of the college football playoff in the latest Virginia Tech episode. We'll get to see Kieran Riddle in Alabama go up against Tyree Wells and SMU, who just beat Stanford in the first round, led by Isaiah Timp. So in Shedeur's first start, he played against the Raiders, and they scored 45 points. To no fault of Shedeur, the defense was a train wreck, and the offense really was not good for most of the game, except for a nice stretch at the end of the first half into the second half. Overall, though, I think Shedeur was good, but not great. Certainly was not as impressive, though, as Geno Smith, who won the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. After allowing 45 points against the Raiders, the 49ers got three. I thought Shedeur overall played pretty well, did have an interception, but completed 75% of his throws, including a 55-yard score in the first quarter by Jerry Jeudy. But after that, no touchdowns from either side. He was not the only rookie to really stand out in the last episode. Quinshon Judkins has taken over as the RB1. He made his first career starts in the last episode as well, although based on the touches, he's kind of been the RB1 for a little while. He's been really starting to break out. In these last 2 weeks, he was extremely impressive against the Raiders. 103 yards, including an incredible 40-yard fourth down touchdown. And then he was pretty solid against the 49ers as well. Slow start this year for Judkins, missing training camp, missing most of the preseason. But boy, has he really come on over these last few weeks. So we're going to start with the tight ends in this year's class. And of course, tight end is not a huge need for us, at least in comparison to other positions on the roster, given we have the duo of David Njoku and Harold Fannin. Njoku's really good. He's also expiring. We've tried to extend him. It hasn't happened yet, but it may still happen by the time we get to the end of the year. Harold Fannin's an intriguing piece as well. He hasn't lived up to the expectations so far, part of the reason why we want to extend Njoku. But even if he doesn't come back, we do have Fannin as a fallout option. I would not expect the Browns to draft a tight end early this year, but you never know. Maybe we're going to run 13 personnel. So right now, it's a tight race for tight end one between Bradley McPhee of USC and David Njoku of Michigan. We'll start with McPhee, who kind of has an interesting background. Only 21 years old, true junior, who's played really well this year for the Trojans. I like what he provides physically. He's around 6'4"-ish, 248 pounds. Athletically, he checks off all the boxes. Good hands. Solid enough route runner. I'd like to see him improve in that area, but he's not horrible. He was a starter as a true freshman and played pretty well. But last year, he was the backup. He lost the job in camp to their recent transfer, Brandon Marbury, who, as we know, ended up transferring again after last year to Virginia Tech. McPhee becomes the starter again, and credit to him for sticking it out at USC and making it work, where he's had a great junior season. Then we get to David Njoku, who physically is pretty much a clone of Bradley McPhee. He's also 6'3". He's also 248 pounds. So already, in terms of the physicals, these guys are nearly identical. Njoku is kind of the opposite of McPhee, though, in terms of his collegiate journey. This is a guy who's played at multiple programs and has been successful at multiple universities. I think he's a little bit more polished in terms of his route running, in terms of his hands compared to McPhee, and we've seen that with multiple years of starting production. I don't quite think he's the athlete that McPhee is, so the ceiling is a little bit lower, but he was good last year at UMass, transfers up to the Big Ten and Michigan, and the increase of competition really has proven to be no problem for him, hence why he could be the first tight end off the board. After these two, we've got Dube Bakonen from Florida, really athletic, really raw, and he's already 23 years old. Dallas Addington, kind of the opposite boat. Super productive at Alabama, although he's a little undersized at only 220 pounds. Let's look at Terrence Flowers, the junior at Notre Dame. We got to see him in the first round of the playoff against Ole Miss, and he might have been the best player on the field. He had 8 catches for over 100 yards in the first half alone. Was quieter in the second half, but he was unguardable in that game. He was very clearly Brennan Holloway's number 1 target. I think he needs to improve as a route runner, but he's got good hands. He checks off the boxes athletically. He's a little skinny. He only plays at 222 pounds, although I increased his weight inside of Madden. I think it would make sense for him to bulk up before we get to the combine, get a little bit stronger. It'll probably help out his blocking. He'll lose some of his athleticism as a result, but he's still one of the most athletic tight ends in the class, even with increasing 15 or 20 pounds in terms of his weight. Played really well last year, has been phenomenal this year when healthy. Did miss a few games, but against Ole Miss, again, he might have been the best player on the field in the first round of the playoff. Otis Merrick of Middle Tennessee State, super productive season. Brandon Marbury, Virginia Tech. I thought he had a really good year for us. He is a little bit older, though, at 24. A few different spots, as we mentioned, was the starter last year at USC. Tarek Bodine from Iowa, tight end university. Aldwin Ferris from Oklahoma State, I think, is one of the most physically talented tight ends in the class. I think Oklahoma State completely misused him, and they didn't use him enough, but I think he's got a chance to be really good. And then Franco Flower, who won the John Mackey Award this year, came up out of nowhere and statistically was the best tight end in the country. He's not an NFL athlete, though, which is why he's all the way in the 7th round. Let's move over to the offensive line, and I think our line is in a really weird spot. I do want to mention the players from the Kansas dynasty who were supposed to be included in today's prospect profile at tight end, offensive line, and defensive line, including Reggie Chanel, for instance, have not yet been put into the draft class. I already had everything recorded, and then I realized, oh snap, I forgot to put these guys in. So they will be included once we have our next prospect profile. I'll go over them then. Anyway, as we look at our current offensive line, you'll notice a couple of things. It's old, and everybody here is rated low. Not to mention, we've got 3 starters, DeJuan Jones, Wyatt Teller, and Jack Conklin, who are currently hurt. On paper, it's not a great group, given that most of these guys are not rated very highly, and most of these guys are kind of old. Currently, 3 of our starters, when we have a healthy offensive line, are above the age of 30. That's not to mention Tevin Jenkins is on an expiring deal. He hasn't shown the ability to be healthy. DeJuan Jones just broke his ankle last week and is out for the year. Despite that, though, everybody individually on the line really hasn't been that bad. Nobody's allowed more than 4 sacks this year, and I think part of that is because Joe Flacco got rid of the ball as quick as possible. Shedeur Sanders is the opposite under pressure, and the sack numbers will go up. But we are towards the bottom of the league in sacks allowed this year, and I think the offensive line does deserve quite a bit of credit for that. The run blocking, especially over the last few weeks, I think has also been really good. So on paper, the offensive line is not great, and they're kind of old, so we need to get some youth. But in terms of overall production, they've been really solid. As we look at the 2 tackles in this class, both of the top tackles come from Ole Miss, which makes sense given that Zarius Stone was sacked only 6 times all year. And the question is it a matter of the Ole Miss scheme? Is it because Zarius Stone gets rid of the ball super fast, or because he's really good under pressure? Or are these offensive tackles just that good? I kind of think it's probably a mix of everything. But NFL scouts certainly believe this tackle duo has 2 really good players who easily could go in the top half of the first round. We'll start with Jared Hennigason, the 6'7", 6'7", 310-pound blindside blocker for Zarius Stone. Hennigason is a really weird case for me because this is his 4th year at Ole Miss, but his first season as a starter. He rode the bench for 3 years. They didn't think he was any good, and they were not that confident in him out of camp to be the starting left tackle. Well, sure enough, this year he allowed the same amount of sacks as you and I. 0, zilch, nada, none. That's pretty good. Is it a matter of the scheme? Is it a matter of the quarterback? Or is this guy just that good? And NFL evaluators seem to be torn, but the tape does not lie. The guy did not allow sacks. He did not allow many pressures. And with that type of production, even though it's only a one-year sample, that's going to push you to the first round of the draft. Anthony Devy from Notre Dame is up next. A big reason why we're seeing guys like Zarius Stone and Brennan Holloway and Kieran Riddle at the top of the draft is because of the offensive line. Anthony Devy is another guy who going into the year was a relative unknown. He had to earn his spot over the last couple of seasons at Notre Dame. He wasn't a highly regarded recruit. Like Henningsen, he was a backup for the first few seasons of his career. But the production ever since he's become a starter has been really good. He only allowed 1 sack this season, and he let up none a year ago. He is 2.5 years as a starter compared to just 1 for Henningsen, but Jared is higher because some of his pass blocking wins are a little bit more dominant. Then we get to Cassius Boulder from Georgia, who lives up to his name. He's a boulder. 6'6", 320 pounds. He is built physically like the prototype SEC first-round offensive tackle. The Andrew Thomases, the Evan Neals, the J.C. Lathams of the world. Really solid pass blocker. Very good run blocker as well. I think he's one of the better run-blocking tackles in this class. He is also an extremely impressive athlete at his size. His ability to move laterally and match up with quicker, twitchier edge rushers is really, really impressive. I don't think he's as consistent in pass pro as the top 2 tackles in this class. He let up 8 sacks last year. That number down to 3 this season. So he's definitely improved in that area. But I just don't think he's quite as consistent in the passing game as either Henningsen or Devy. In terms of the non-first rounders, I like Nathan Ransom. Look at him launching the defender to the ground. This kid, you can tell, loves blocking. A little bit undersized, 6'5", 280. But like the Notre Dame tight end Terrence Flowers, I'm going to have him bulk up going into the NFL, which might hurt his athleticism a little bit, but it should help his play strength, which is a little bit inconsistent on a snap-by-snap basis. Did not allow any sacks last year, is at 4 this year, so he's been a little bit worse in pass pro, but still very solid overall. Mekhi Hellwing from Texas Tech, really good story. He's missed a lot of time with injury, but he's been healthy this year and has played really well. Rayal McChesney from Texas A&M is a cool name. And then a couple big school guys down here, including Sal Jurovich from Ohio State. As for right tackle, the other Ole Miss starting offensive tackle is Andre Dockery. He has a little bit more of a sample size compared to Jared Henningsen. Like, he didn't completely burst out onto the scene unknown this year. He was a starter last year where he was also really good. 6'6", a little bit under 300 pounds, so he's a little bit small, but I don't think it's a huge deal. He's not an elite run blocker. I think of the tackles in this class, Cassius Boulder from Georgia is very clearly the best run blocker, even though he's a little bit worse in pass pro compared to some of these other guys like Dockery, who's only let up 1 sack this year, allowed 7 last year. A little bit crazy when you think about it, given that this year Zarius Stone was not even sacked 7 times total through 13 games. Right now, Dockery is the only projected right tackle in the first round, but there are a couple names to watch out for on day 2, including Adrian Pena, the redshirt junior from the University of Miami. One of the highest rated tackles going into the year. This is a guy who, unlike a lot of the other tackles in this class, went into the year as a projected first round pick and for the most part has largely held his draft stock. He's been a little bit more inconsistent than I think one would hope, especially in pass protection, which is supposed to be his strength, given that he's not an elite run blocker. But he still has been good enough in pass pro to certainly warrant being a fringe first rounder. And with multiple years of high-level production, I think teams are going to like that, especially given some of these other guys have been a little bit more spotty in terms of year-to-year play or getting snaps at all. So this is a guy who's played well in the past, was pretty good this year, even if he was a little bit worse. Still, definitely a top 50 lock. Raiden Capizzi from USC fascinates me. I think he's raw. I don't think he should start right away, but I think if teams are patient, he could be really good. Only 20 years old, he's one of the youngest players in the class and has improved drastically from his redshirt freshman season to this year as a redshirt sophomore. I mean, it's been completely night and day. Last year, he was outright bad, but he had a phenomenal offseason where he improved a lot, as you can see by the fact that he's already a 94 overall. He allowed 12 sacks a year ago, one of the highest marks in the Big Ten. This year, only at 2 so far. Definitely a guy I'm going to keep my eye on in the playoff with USC. They play against Ohio State next. Obviously, they've got some good players up front. Quincy Ehedebo from Penn State, I think he's really pro-ready. Spencer Dunkel from Tennessee, super talented. Jebediah Barn from Oregon had a great senior season, really putting himself on the map. And then Kevin Ferraro at the bottom, he's really interesting to me. Last year, he allowed 0 sacks, and he went into this season projected as a first-rounder, given that he might be the most athletic offensive lineman in the draft. But this year, he's been outright bad. He's allowed 10 sacks and has pushed himself all the way down to the 7th round. Even at 24 years old, I think he's an intriguing flyer on upside. As we move over to guard, much like offensive tackle, the top 2 guards both go to the same school, University of Tennessee. We'll start with the left guard, Elijah Bada, the 6'4", 320. I know it says 220. That's wrong. He's around 320 pounds, the redshirt junior who had a phenomenal season for the Vols, racking in numerous awards. Bada is a mauler in the run game, really solid in pass pro, super athletic, great footwork. Again, he won multiple awards as the best interior offensive lineman in the country, yet he's not even the best guard prospect on his own team. He's probably going to be the second Tennessee guard off the board, which is kind of crazy to think about. 2.5-year starter with the Vols. This season has not allowed any sacks, only let up 1 in 2024. So I think with the size, with the traits, with the production, he's a really safe bet, I think, to be a good player at the next level. And at the end of the first round for a contending team, who maybe has one hole on the offensive line, he'd be a great pick. Perfection Winton from Alabama, another guy who could go in the first round. The redshirt sophomore is only 21 years old. He's one of the younger players in this year's class. I think he's really talented. A lot of reps at both left and right guard, throwing the Auburn defender on the ground there. 6'4", around 310 pounds, so he's built fairly similarly to Elijah Bada. I think his pass blocking wins are a little bit more dominant than Bada. I don't think he's as good in the run game, largely because his foot speed is just not as fast. He's not as athletic. Only a 1-year starter, but he's been really, really good in that 1 year as a starter, helping out the Heisman Trophy winner, Kieran Riddle. Tristan Risen from Iowa, Hakeem Faye-Asago from Georgia, both look really solid. I like Arnold LaRoe as well from LSU. As we move over to right guard with Jonah Ritter, the top projected interior offensive lineman in this class, the 21-year-old redshirt sophomore from Tennessee, who's a 98 overall. He is one of the highest rated players in the game. He is an unbelievable pass protector. His wins in the passing game, he deletes some of the best defensive linemen from the SEC on a weekly basis. 6'3", 335. He's got the size you look for. He is really athletic for his build. He did not play in Tennessee's playoff loss to USF. He was hurt, so you can't blame him for Tennessee not showing up. He's definitely a little bit more flawed than you would hope for a first-round guard prospect. Even though his pass blocking wins are dominant, he does have some bad reps. He's also not an elite run blocker. For a guard who's going to go in the first round, you would hope he was a little more well-rounded. So I think some teams might have reservations about that, and they could prefer someone like Branson, Lighton, Marklin from Ohio State. Also only 21 years old, a redshirt sophomore, 6'2", 315 pounds, better run blocker than Jonah Ritter. He is also a freak show, 82 speed, 89 acceleration. This guy can flat out move. Now, he does not have much of a sample size. He's only played in 9 games. He did not play either in Ohio State's playoff win against Miami. The Buckeyes are hoping to get him back pretty soon, though, so hopefully we'll get to see him through some of the other playoff games, or game singular. Maybe they'll lose right away. Maurice Shiroga from Georgia, also only 21 years old. Georgia has 4 offensive linemen projected to go roughly in the top 100 picks. They've got some maulers up front. And then we move over to center. There's kind of a clear upper class, per se, at center. That starts with Stevenson Duck from NC State, who won the Rivington Award as the nation's top center. 6'5", 320 pounds, a 21-year-old senior. He reclassified up out of high school to join NC State early. So even though he's been there for 4 years, he's one of the younger guys in this class. I think he has one of the highest floors as well. Checks off all the boxes as a run blocker, pass blocker, athleticism, footwork, production, multiple seasons as a starter. He gives you everything you look for in an offensive line prospect. only has allowed 5 sacks in his collegiate career, where he's been basically a 4-year starter for the Wolfpack. Shaq Corbin from Georgia and Osiris Boger from Alabama, both hoping to also go in the top 100. Again, the Georgia line and the Bama line are elite. And then Jeremy Harris from Michigan, a little rough around the edges, but he's gotten better and better and better each season with the Wolverines. I think it's a good offensive line class overall, especially when you factor in that we're going to be adding some guys from Kansas. Reggie Chanel, I think, will probably be a first-rounder. Let's look at the defense now, the defensive line. We've got this guy, Myles Garrett. He's pretty good. He already has a career high in sacks, 16.5, with 5 games left to go. Even though he's been a little quiet as of recent, he only has 4 sacks over his last 4 games. I know, how disappointing. There's also Mason Graham, the rookie out of Michigan, who's been everything we could have hoped for this year. Certainly in the race for Defensive Rookie of the Year. I think he's second right now in the AFC behind Barrett Carter. He's awesome. Him and Myles Garrett are terrific, and the two of them have more sacks than roughly a third of the league. The problem is the rest of the defensive line is not respectable. They are horrible. Nobody else has more than 2.5 sacks this year. The edge room outside of Myles Garrett is not pretty. Between Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, Cam Thomas, David Ajabo, and Isaiah McGuire, none of those guys have really stepped up for us. I do like Mike Hall Jr. He was really good in the preseason, has gotten better as the year has gone along, but he still hasn't played great. So I think picking a defensive lineman in the first round could absolutely make sense for us. Yes, we already have 2 Pro Bowl, All-Pro, in Myles Garrett's case, Defensive Player of the Year level guys there, but why not make a strength even stronger, especially considering we already have holes there? We'll start at edge. There are some ball players at the top of this class, including Cabal Monroe from Duke. We got to play against him with Virginia Tech, and he might be the only defensive lineman in the history of the world who makes Clyde Poole look slow. 6'4", 230, he's a little undersized. That's the question with him, but my God, is he a freak. Get off is unbelievable. His twitch, his quickness, his acceleration, his speed are all elite. His ability to fly off the edge is unlike anything I have ever seen from an edge rushing prospect. The pass rush toolbox is a little bit inconsistent, but it's gotten better as the career has gone along, even though right now he still too much relies on his speed. It took him a little bit to get going as a former 5-star recruit, but this year he's really figured it out. Not just as a pass rusher with 10.5 sacks, but he's been good in the run game as well. And I said going into the year, if Cabal Monroe figures it out, he's going to go in the top 5. Sure enough, he's the top projected non-quarterback in the draft and is absolutely in play for us with our top pick. Zyron Walker from Clemson, I think, is also in play with our first rounder. He's a little bit older and a little bit more proven at 23. Physically, big man, 6'4", 270. Perfect size you look for from an edge rusher. Really polished as a pass rusher. He wins with power. He wins with finesse. He's a great run defender. And his athleticism is also elite. Compared to him and Cabal Monroe, yes, Monroe might be a little more freakier per se, but there's a lot less questions with Walker. He checks off every box you look for with the size, with the production. He matches the eye test on tape. And I think he could certainly be a top 10 pick. Even though this year as a senior, he's been a little worse than he was over the last 2 seasons, he's still been really, really good. As we look at the day 2 guys, we'll start with Carmen Drake, our guy from Virginia Tech, the top projected Hokie in this class. He is skinny, 6'6", played at around 220 pounds this year. Now, I think he's going to bulk up before the combine, probably get to around 230. Kind of like Cabal Monroe, he's a former 5-star recruit who took a little while to get going, but with 10.5 sacks this year, he's figured it out. He also largely relies on finesse. He's super twitchy off the edge. He's super quick, but he's got good play strength as well, and he can really play the run. I was super impressed with him as a run defender. Going into the year, I felt like he was not a good run defender, but he drastically improved in that area. Going into the season, I was hoping we would get to keep him for 2 years, but I don't think that's going to happen given that he may possibly go in the first round. Tim Overseen from Texas Tech, another undersized athletic guy at 6'1", 250. And then we get to Fernell Edwards, another Duke guy. Cabal Monroe on one side, Fernell Edwards on the other. Look out. Of course, Monroe is the better of the two in terms of being a prospect, but Fernell Edwards has been by far the better college player. The question with Edwards is, will he be able to hold up physically in the NFL? He's undersized, 6'2", 230. and he does not have the athleticism to make up for it, unlike Cabal Monroe. He wins because he's such a technician with his pass rush. His hand movement, his finesse, really impressive. I mean, look at the sack numbers over the last 3 years. He almost broke the all-time sack record in 3 years. That alone could get him into the second round, even though the physicals are not NFL quality. So he's going to be polarizing, but I think he's got a chance to be quite good. Gerald Haney from Notre Dame, former 5-star recruit who flies off the edge. Kason Robertson, another Notre Dame player. He's built physically, big kid, can defend the run, really improved as a pass rusher. Malik Saylor from Miami, 16 sacks this year as a senior. Is he a one-year wonder, or is he legit? As for some day 3 guys to watch out for, I like Avery Sandmore from Texas A&M. I like Jervis Dexter from Pitt quite a bit, high character kid. As we move over to the left side, we've got a couple more players projected to go in the first round. Probably not the top 10, unlike Cabal Monroe or Zyron Walker, but 2 guys who I think have a chance to be really good pros. We'll start with Stephon Battle from Georgia, one of the best run defenders in this class. The way he ate up that offensive lineman on that rep to get into the backfield was really impressive. He is built like an ox. He's super strong, but he's super athletic as well. I wish the pass rushing toolbox was a little bit more diverse. Last year as a sophomore, he really relied on his athleticism, and it worked. He got 12 sacks. This year as a junior, teams have kind of figured that out, and his pass rushing production has gone down. He's still a really good run defender, which still puts him in the first round, but I'm curious to see if NFL teams will be able to adjust to how he plays. He can rely on his athleticism to an extent, but not all the way. He's got to develop more as a pass rusher. Oluwafemi Oladipo is one of my favorite stories in this class. The moral of his career is if you can ball, they'll find you. Spent 3 years at JUCO, 2 years at Mary Hardin Baylor, a Division III school, then transfers up to Texas Tech. As a D3 guy, the question was, is this guy even going to contribute? Well, he ended up winning multiple awards as the best defensive player in college football. His power at his size is really impressive. He's only 250 pounds. He's not undersized, but he's also not some giant, yet he's the most powerful player on the field. 24 tackles for loss, phenomenal run defender, and then 14 and a half sacks. I cannot wait to watch him in the playoff for Texas Tech. And with his career, a guy who, again, had to really work his way up, that's the type of young man with his character that I would bet on. As for some other day 2 guys, Isaiah Reed from Florida, high floor player. I think he'll contribute right away. Kelvin Pipp from Notre Dame, super athletic, 6'4", 240, flies off the edge. I like Powell Carter Jr. from Utah, kind of a hybrid linebacker type who they've had play in the dirt. He's turned into a really good pass rusher. Jensen Diglio, shout out Virginia Tech. He had a really solid season for us, the transfer from UCLA. Let's look at the big boys in the middle, the interior defensive line. Easily one of the strongest position groups in this class. This group of players is loaded. Projected in the top 10, we have Cynthia Matthias from Ohio State, a multi-year starter. Look at this rep where he was engaged with the center and then quickly gets away from him. He's a really impressive athlete. He glides across the field, but he's also one of the strongest players on the field. Very good run defender, very good pass rusher. There are no question marks with this guy's game. He's 335 pounds. He's an absolute giant. Physically, this is the exact type of player who teams want on the defensive line with his size, his athleticism, and his production over the last 2 years, 40 TFLs and 20 sacks. Yeah, that's a top 10 pick all day. He didn't really do much in the first round playoff game against Miami. I'm hoping he does a little more against USC in the second round. Aaron Wagonly from Southern Miss is up next. This guy has looked way too good for Sun Belt competition over the last 3 years. He's a man amongst boys playing against them. 6'2", 299. He's a little bit undersized, but he is as good of a defensive line prospect in terms of his athletic traits as you'll find. I hate to make this comparison, but physically, there's a lot of similarities between him and Aaron Donald in terms of the size, in terms of the athleticism, in terms of the get-off. If you look at his production, he's got over 40 sacks over the last 3 years. Was a highly regarded recruit at Georgia. Did not work out there. Dismissed from the team. He's been awesome at Southern Miss, though. He's going to go in the first round. But I think Matthias is going to go before him because he's bigger. 6'5", 335 with A-level athleticism is going to get drafted before 6'2", 300 with A-plus athleticism. Jalen Jackson from USC is an interesting case because last year he was playing really well as a sophomore. He was really starting to look like a first-round guy, but he got injured, tore his ACL halfway through the season, out for the year. Has come back as a junior and has played just as well. He's gotten back into the first-round mix. He plays with great play strength, but he's also got a lot of twitch. He has probably the best burst of any of the interior defensive linemen in this class. 17 TFLs, 8 sacks, checks off the boxes in terms of production. He has not lost a step since the ACL injury. If anything, he looks faster this year. Winton Mbeji from Tulsa, small school guy who has put up big numbers in the American Athletic. Started off at Kansas State, didn't really work out there, which I guess is to be expected with that program. Transfers to Tulsa where he's been really good. In terms of the athleticism, another guy who's really, really quick. That's what you're noticing with a lot of the defensive linemen at the top of this class. It's an athletic bunch. Teams like the guys who physically are outliers. And Mbeji doesn't necessarily have the same level of quickness that the top 3 guys have, but still a 90th percentile defensive line athlete for the NFL level. Keve Kayakakamale from LSU has had a nice year. He's played at a few different schools. I want to look at this kid, though, from Oregon, Kosumi Bigman, who lives up to his name. He is a big man at 332 pounds. He is a tried and true nose tackle. This is a guy who adds a level of toughness to the defense by being a force in the middle, who eats up space and makes it really hard for teams to run the ball up the middle. Unlike a lot of nose tackles, though, this guy can get after the quarterback. 7.5 sacks this year as a senior, 10.5 last year. Now, granted, he didn't really play nose tackle last year. He was more of the 3-tech last year at Oregon. Added some weight, has become more of the nose tackle this year. The sack numbers are still really impressive, though, for somebody of his role. A lot of players like him you don't want on the field on passing downs, but he can do it. In terms of the rest of the day 2 guys, I like Zach Denson a lot from San Diego State. I think he's going to be a good player. Tank Renford from Tennessee led the Vols in sacks, did not play against USF due to an injury, and, well, boy, it showed, given that they sent no pass rush. Montrell Coleman from Miami won the ACC Defensive Player of the Week when they played against Virginia Tech, had that late-game pick 6, which I do not want to reminisce. So before we look at Tennessee here, we do have a quick roster move to make. We talked about how banged up the offensive line is. Wyatt Teller and Jack Conklin are probably going to be out for another game or 2. And then last week in our win against the 49ers, DeJuan Jones broke his ankle, and he'll be out for the remainder of the regular season, which is certainly unfortunate. So we're going to have to replace him on the roster. We need offensive line depth, given that these guys are dropping like flies. We already have 3 guys hurt, and we have guys playing like Tevin Jenkins with a major injury history. So I'm going to look at Yosh Nijman, former Virginia Tech guy. We love to see it. Go Hokies. 29 years old, 69 overall. He's played a little bit with Green Bay and Carolina, so he's a guy with experience who we can have on the field if needed. Let's look at this Titans team, who, unlike real life, is playing some good ball with Brian Callahan and Cam Ward. They're 7-5 in a loaded AFC wildcard race. They've got to continue to win games to stay afloat in the AFC playoff picture. They're currently the number 5 seed in a 3-way tie for first place in the AFC South with Houston and Jacksonville. Obviously, we're hoping the Jaguars continue to lose games. Trevor Lawrence, for what it's worth, is injured at the moment. Nick Mullins is in, a big reason why the Jags have lost 3 in a row. This season did not start off well for the Titans. They lost 50-6 against the Broncos, and they started 1-3. But since then, they are 6-2. They put up 42 points last week against Jacksonville. A big reason why this team has won 6 of their last 8 games has been the growth and maturity of Cam Ward, a player who I am very high on for the future. I really believe in this guy to be the long-term starter here in Tennessee. The numbers are not elite, but it's clear that he has elevated this team with his improvising ability, a guy who is special, off-platform, under pressure, making crazy throws. He's got a solid group of skilled guys, a little bit older with Tony Pollard, Calvin Ridley, Tyler Lockett. They do have some fun young players, though, with Chimere Dike and Alec Ayomanor. Of course, Tajay Spears at running back as well, talented player from Tulane. And then defensively, Big Jeffrey Simmons in the middle. Oluwafemi Oladejo, second-round edge rusher from UCLA, looks like a hit. Kevin Winston Jr. from Penn State, I was super high on him. He looks like a hit, although he's hurt and will not play today. That's a pretty big loss for Tennessee. And of course, the most intriguing part of this matchup is Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders, who many people expected for much of last year's pre-draft cycle that they would be the top two quarterbacks off the board. This was supposed to be the rivalry. We've seen the videos of these guys training together. They're good friends, and now they're playing against each other for the first time in their NFL careers. Ward on 3rd and 6. High pass is caught. That one goes for a first down in the hands of the veteran Tyler Lockett. Spent a decade in Seattle, one of the most underrated players in the NFL. Now here in Tennessee as Ward is sacked. Mike Hall Jr. He's played better as the year has gone along. I'm hoping he can continue to break out and hopefully be a long-term starter next to Mason Graham and Myles Garrett on this defensive line. 3rd and 13. Ward steps up in the pocket. His pass is picked off right into the hands of Devin Bush. His first interception of the year, and the Browns get the ball back. Our linebackers have struggled as of recent with the trade of Jerome Baker and the season-ending injury to rookie Carson Schlesinger. They were one of the top linebacking duos in the league. Now the linebackers are horrible, so it's good to see Devin Bush there making a play. He is the best linebacker on the team, which, saying that, that's pretty sad. As Cleveland has it for the first time today. Sanders connects with Jerry Jeudy to the 35. I talked about it in the last episode, but I think these two guys, Sanders and Jeudy, they seem to have really good chemistry with each other already. Jeudy is clearly the number one option with Sanders at quarterback. Shedeur steps up, scrambles, and is sacked. Unable to get away from the pressure. It's Matthew Judon, signed out of free agency, body built by Taco Bell. 51-yard field goal try for Dustin Hopkins is good. I thought that one was going to continue to curve to the right, but it just kind of stopped, which works out for us. 3-0 lead for the Browns. Titans get it back. Cam Ward intercepted on the last drive. As that one is broken away on 3rd down. He was looking for Chico Okonkwo. Devin Bush again makes the play. A quick start for Bush as the Browns get it back. 3rd down and 2 from the 39. Judkins joins Sanders in the backfield. He'll get it. Judkins runs right into the big man, T'Vondre Sweat. The big nose tackle brings him down a yard shy of the line of scrimmage and certainly shy of the first down marker. Titans back with it, play action. Ward connects with Tony Pollard to the outside, outruns the defender, gets it to the 39. Really good play there after the catch by Pollard to keep the chains moving, although Kevin Zeitler, the all-pro guard, is hurt. 3rd and 3. The Titans are short. Caleb Farley, former Titan first-rounder, brings down Lockett shy of the first down marker. Tennessee's going to go for it inside of their own territory. I love the aggressiveness from Coach Callahan. They're going to run the ball. Pollard barely gets it. That was close, but he gets just enough for the first down. 3rd and 3 now at the 43. Ward looks to throw it. Has plenty of room up the middle. Hit as he throws by Garrett, and it's incomplete. If Tyler Lockett was a step closer to the ball, he could have come down with that. 4th and 3 at the 43. Jumbo set. Titans are going to go for it again. Play action. Browns bite, and sure enough, Tony Pollard is open in the flat for the first down, gaining 7. We were expecting run. Good fake out. Good play call by Coach Callahan. Ward scrambles up the middle on 3rd and 8. He does not get the first. Fumbles the ball. Asante Samuel Jr. rips and recovers the fumble. What a play by the veteran corner. And the Browns force their second turnover of the opening quarter. Ward with an interception and a fumble through the opening frame as the Browns get it back. Dylan Sampson in the backfield for the first time today. Shedeur throws it. He's got David Njoku for the first down to the 43. If Njoku continues to play well, we're going to continue to try to bring him back. I think he can be a long-term piece. Sampson, whoop, spin move. Sampson with a big run to end the first as he gets over 20. Wrapped up at the 36. Of course, Sampson played his college ball at the University of Tennessee, so he should be no stranger to the Titans brasses. That'll wrap up the first quarter. 3-0 lead for Cleveland. The offense has been so-so, but the defense has been really impressive. Coming off a game last week where we allowed 3 points, it's good to see the defense continuing to carry over that momentum. I don't know what was said after the Raiders game, but clearly it worked. We've already forced 2 turnovers. Ward with an interception and a fumble. as the Browns are moving it pretty nicely from the 36. Sanders scrambles on the run. He's got Judy. Tries to leapfrog over Olufemi Oladejo. He cannot, but he does get the first down. From the 23, Sanders scrambles on the run. Sanders hit as he throws. He's got the rookie Harold Fannin Jr. to the 10. I don't think the rapport with Flacco and Fannin was all that impressive. It seems like Fannin's more comfortable with Sanders at quarterback. Second and goal, Shedeur on the run. He'll keep it himself, and he waltzes into the end zone for a touchdown. Shedeur Sanders hits that play out at the park. His first NFL rushing touchdown. Does a great job navigating through the pressure. That's normally his weakness, but he did a great job there. 10-0 lead for the Browns. Titans have it back. Their offense looking to get going. They have not played well today. Pollard loses 2. Mason Graham, the big fella, does it again. Second and 12 now from the 34 in the eye. They'll go back to Pollard with plenty of space up the middle. Gets the first, gaining around 15. And that's kind of the problem with our run defense. We get a lot of TFLs, but we allow a lot of consistent 10, 12, 15-yard runs like that. That's because there was no linebacker in the intermediate area of the field. Our linebackers are horrific. Great throw by Ward through the seam in between 3 defenders. Tyler Lockett has been the top Titans receiver today. Calvin Ridley vacationing on Denzel Ward Island. 3rd and 7. Intercepted right into the hands of Rayshawn Jenkins. On the return, he gets it to around the 16. For those counting at home, 4 Titans drives, 0 points, and 3 Cameron Ward turnovers. He overthrew his receiver perfectly into the hands of Jenkins. As the Browns get it back, here's Judkins. Whoop! Juke move, first down to the 30. A gain of 14. Judkins has been quiet so far today. That's a good way, though, to get things going. 3rd and 6, Sanders on the run. He'll go short. Njoku breaks the tackle from Amani Hooker. What a job after the catch by David Njoku, fighting for the yards. This team is 3-9, and everybody on the field on both sides is still giving it their all. That's culture, baby. 3rd and 10, Sampson with the first down. He gets it to the 36. This offense looks comfortable with Shedeur, and there's a level of swagger and confidence that this group has that was not the case with Joe Flacco. Sanders looking for Njoku. What a throw! He was not inbounds. We decided not to challenge it, but still, that was a ridiculously impressive and difficult throw. It won't matter that he didn't get it because the very next play, Jahan Dotson is left wide open to the 14. Now 2nd and 9 from the 13. Browns looking to make it a 3-score lead. Sanders goes short. Fannin looking for his first NFL touchdown. He doesn't get it, but he does get it to the 3. Titans are now calling some timeouts. They want to get the ball back. Sampson finds room, and he is in. The Cleveland Browns lead it 17-0. The Titans fully on upset alert. This clearly looks like a trap game for them right now. This is our most dominant half of the year. The offense is cooking. The defense is cooking. This team looks great. Ward on 2nd and 3. A phenomenal throw on the run. He's got Calvin Ridley to the 39. There's the Cam Ward and also the Calvin Ridley that the Titans offense is going to need to get rolling. Following play, Ward is sacked. Mike Hall Jr., his second of the half. He only had 2.5 sacks through the first 12 games of the year. He's already got 2 here in this game. 2nd and 17. Titans use their second timeout up the middle. Nice catch by Dontavian Wicks, who gets it to the 33. Acquired via trade from the Packers with their playoff chase. They wanted to add another pro-ready wide receiver per se while the 2 rookies develop. 3rd and 4. Ward dances around. That one is broken away. Looking for Ridley, but Devin Bush, who's been all over the field in the first half, jars it out, and the Titans are going to go for it again. They're 2 for 2 so far on 4th down. They say, why not try once more? Ward on the run. It's caught. Lockett with the first down to the 14. The Titans are 1 of 8 on 3rd down today, but they're 3 for 3 on 4th. With just 5 seconds left, Ward scrambles, slides at the 4. The Titans were in no hurry to get that play off, largely because they still had one more timeout in their back pocket. And now they're going to look to kick the field goal. Interesting decision here, this close to the end zone at the 4. They've gone for it 3 times. I kind of thought they'd be aggressive again, but clearly they just want to add points before the end of the half as the kick is good. So the Titans do score late in what otherwise was pretty much all Cleveland in that first half. Our best 20-minute stretch probably of the whole year. 17-3. The offense looks good. As I mentioned earlier with Shedeur Sanders, there's a confidence and swagger that this team has on that side of the ball that they did not have when Joe Flacco was out there. As we take a look at our halftime report, we'll start with the Thursday night game. Detroit started the year off slowly with losing their two coordinators, but the offense and Jared Goff, they're really starting to get going. 23-20 over Dallas, and a huge game for wild card implications given that both teams were 6-6. Seahawks at 7-5, Falcons at 7-5. Again, major game for NFC playoff implications. Michael Penix out with an injury for Atlanta. It's Kirk Cousins in at quarterback as he connects with Bijan Robinson for the score. We're knotted up at 10. Cousins, of course, facing off against another former Minnesota Viking in Sam Darnold. Bears 7-5, Packers 8-4 for first place in the NFC North. And both of these teams know they've got to win, with Detroit starting to get hot. We've got a good one up to this point, tied at 14 with this rushing touchdown by Jordan Love. It's December. It's Toyota-thon. That's probably good news for the Packers. Once we get to January, though, Green Bay will inevitably fall on their faces, and I will clown them as they do so every year. Let's go to the second half now. I talked about how good the offense has been. Let's look at the defense. 3 turnovers, 3 points allowed. Our defense has carried over the impressive performance from last week's game against San Francisco into today, and we've turned over a new leaf on that side of the ball. Sanders 9 of 14, 132 yards and a score, outplaying Cam Ward, who has 2 interceptions and a fumble on the ground. We haven't ran it all that well. Sampson leads the way with 26 yards. Judkins only has 24. Tony Pollard, meanwhile, 10 for 40. He's been pretty solid. Let's go into the second half. Let's see if Shedeur Sanders can keep it rolling. Up by 14, starting with possession of the football, as Sanders will hand it off. Jerome Ford has been quiet today, but he's got a couple of blocks. Ford gets it to the 46. He certainly has lost his role with the emergence of Judkins. Sanders under pressure. He is sacked. The rookie from UCLA, Olufemi Oladejo, brings him down as he wins the rep against the right tackle, that being the young Carson Vincent. 2nd and 20. Sanders under pressure, panics, and is picked off. Oladejo, back-to-back splash plays for the rookie, and the Titans get it at the 33. This could be the spark of momentum that Tennessee has been looking for. Bad decision there by Sanders. He panicked under pressure. That's the weakness in his game. He's not good under pressure, takes bad sacks and forces bad throws. Ward, he's intercepted right back. Ball don't lie. Grant Delpit snags it away from Tyler Lockett. 3rd interception for the Browns defense and the 4th takeaway. This unit looks unbelievable. What does that say about Geno Smith and the Raiders? They put up nearly 40 points last week against the Chargers. Maybe the Raiders' offense is just that good. Browns back with it. Sanders lobs it up on 3rd and 4. It's incomplete. Figured he might as well throw it up there. What's the worst that could happen? That's Roger McCreary who got a hand on it. Alabama receiver versus Auburn corner. For the 28, Ward goes short. It's Chigo Okonkwo who brings it into the red zone. If the Titans can score a touchdown, they are firmly back in the game. The Browns' offense has not looked good so far in the second half. Pollard bounces off a blocker, and he's in. What on God's green earth was Rayshon Jenkins doing there? That was not me as the user. That was the CPU before I could control him. He was just standing there. How are you supposed to defend the run by staying stationary? 1-score game, Titans with the sack. Judon's a little bit dinged up. As I said earlier, during the offensive line prospect profile, we're going to see more sacks with Sanders at quarterback, but we might see some more good throws like that one as he finds Fannin for the first down. Now from the 36, Sanders hands it off. Quinshon Judkins follows his blockers. Past the 50, juke move. Judkins past the 40 for a really nice gain of around 25 yards. That was a really good run. Judkins, great vision there, knowing exactly where he needs to go. Sampson up the middle. Not as good at vision. He should have just hit the hole, but he does get it to the 20, and the Browns are in the red zone. This is a great response coming off the Titans touchdown. We needed to do this. Sanders looks to throw it up the middle. He's got Dotson inside the 10, wrapped up and around the 6. Another nice play by Jahan Dotson. He's been pretty solid in this one. Nearing the end of the third. 3rd and goal from the 7. Sanders looks to throw it. Looking back in the end zone. It's caught! Jahan Dotson with the touchdown. And the Browns will add to the lead. Jahan Dotson definitely has got his most amount of snaps as a Brown in this game, and he's looked good. He's made some nice catches, none bigger than that one. Titans have it back, 14-10. Ward scrambles, steps up, lobs it up on 3rd and 2. It is broken away by Greg Newsome as he tries to get it to Ridley. Browns will get it back under a minute to go in the third with a 3rd and 2 at the 40. Looking to make it a 3-score lead now. Sanders under center. Judkins is the running back, and it's play action. Sanders rolls out to the right, hoping someone gets open down the field. He's going to try to send it to Dotson, but it's broken away. Probably should have just thrown it away there, but it's still an incompletion. And that'll wrap up the third. The Titans do score a touchdown. That ends our defense's streak of like 7 or 8 quarters of not allowing a touchdown. But the offense marched right back and did the same. Shedeur Sanders to Jahan Dotson. Both quarterbacks also throwing interceptions in this quarter. So it was certainly an action-packed, very busy third quarter from both sides. As we move into the fourth, Browns are in the driver's seat up by 14, looking for their first win streak of the year. We'll see if the Titans can carry over some momentum from the touchdown drive. 2nd and 8. Really nice throw by Ward. And an impressive diving catch for a first down by Wicks. Pollard gets popped on first down. A good run, though, as they continue to be efficient on the ground. Tajay Spears gets 11 to the 15. And Tennessee is close to the end zone. 2nd and 5 now at the 9 with a receiver in motion. Ward looks to throw it, goes short, and Wicks gets flattened in the backfield. Asante Samuel Jr., he's had a great game. Maybe his best as a Brown. 3rd and 11. Ward looks to throw it. Scrambles to the left side. He's going to look to run with it, and he gets around 4. Asante Samuel Jr. leads the way again. Is it too early to go for it? I don't think so. With under 5 minutes left, the Titans will keep the offense on the field. 4th and 7. Ward, end zone, touchdown! Tyler Lockett with the score. He does the Cam Ward celebration. What a throw in between 3 defenders. Surgical pass on 4th down by Cam Ward to basically keep the game alive. The Titans had to get that one. 2nd and 6. Here's Sanders, looks to throw it, sends it up for Fannin, and it's intercepted! Amani Hooker, he's got it for the Titans, and all of a sudden the door is wide open for Tennessee. They get the ball back, only down by 7. We wanted to get the first down and then start running the ball, chewing some clock, but we barely take any time off the clock. Ward, 3rd and 8. He's got Pollard to the 45. A huge conversion for the Titans, who have been so much better on 3rd down in the second half versus the first. Ward keeps it on the read option. He will launch Rayshawn Jenkins to the ground and gets another 15 yards. This Titans offense is in a rhythm, night and day, from the first half to right now. 2:15 to go in the fourth. At the 18, it's Lockett who gets thrown to the ground. Big hit by the Tennessee defense. That was Tryon Shoyinka. 3rd and 7, following the 2-minute warning. Pollard in motion. Ward looks to throw it, scrambling around. Ward looks to run with it, and he will get the first down. Chased from behind at the 3 by Myles Garrett. I don't know why the Titans called time there. They should try to choose some clock and take their time. 2nd and goal from the 2. Pollard, he is in, and the Titans tie it at 24. Cam Ward with a terrific second half performance, and sure, he turned the ball over 4 times today. But when it mattered, he has led them down the field. And now it's time for the biggest drive of Shedeur Sanders' NFL career. Minute 13 to go, 3rd and 4, clock is running. Sanders looks to throw it. He'll go short. Dotson, first down. He gets it to the 39 for a gain of 13. That's a promising start. 2nd and 7, now at the 42. Only 53 seconds. Keep in mind, all the Browns need is a field goal. as Njoku's wide open, and he is out of bounds, stopping the clock. Shedeur likes what he sees, 21-32, a rushing touchdown, a passing touchdown, and an interception. From the 43, Sanders scrambles around. He's going to look to throw it up, one-on-one, Jerry Jeudy. He's got it! Touchdown! Browns take the lead with 40 seconds to go. A Shedeur Sanders moonshot to the end zone for Judge Jeudy. What a play by the Cleveland Browns. Their biggest play probably of the entire season. Sanders on first down says, hey, what's the worst that can happen? I'm going to send it up, hope my receiver can make a play, and boy does he. What a catch by Jeudy and a perfect throw on the run by Shedeur Sanders in his third NFL start, looking for win number 2. Titans get it back, trailing by 7, 40 seconds and 1 timeout. Lockett gets 5, and they're going to use that timeout on the first play of the drive. Not ideal. 2nd and 5, it's Okonkwo, tries to get out of bounds, he cannot. Dealt it with the tackle, and they're going to have to get back to the line quick. Tick, 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 tick. 25 seconds left. I don't know why Ward's calling some kind of audible at the line. It's pretty simple. Just spike the ball as he officially clocks it with 18. Ward and empty here on 2nd down. They've got to look for the sidelines. Quick throw up the middle. It's Wicks to the 16. They've got to get back. Tick, 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 tick. 8, 7, 6. Ward takes his time, and he eventually spikes it with 3. So that means this game is going to come down to one more play. 2nd and 10 at the 16 with 3 seconds. The Browns are going to call time. I want to switch to the defensive personnel, get as many guys in the end zone as possible, probably some iteration here of cover 4. The Titans are obviously looking for the end zone here, so there's no reason not to have 4, 5, 6 guys back there. Ward, it is incomplete! That was a good throw. Ridley had it in his hands, but Denzel Ward charged it away, and the Browns hold on to win it, 31-24, their second straight win. Started the year 2-9, but we've won 2 in a row since. Shedeur Sanders, 2-1 as an NFL starter as he defeats his fellow 2025 draft class mate in Cameron Ward. Draft positioning and all that is cool, but I think with a first-year head coach and a young team like this, winning games at the end of the year is going to be more valuable than a few extra slots in the draft. We want to build this thing the right way. We want guys who want to play for the name on the back of the jersey and the team on the front. Up and down game for Sanders. I thought he was good in the first half. I thought he struggled in the second half, but that throw to Jeudy, man, at the end, that was crazy. As for Cam Ward, he turned the ball over 4 times, but in the second half, he was awesome, leading 3 touchdown drives for the Titans. Both run games were solid. We've got to find a way to stop the QB scramble. Ever since our linebackers have left, we haven't been able to. Lockett with 91 yards, Dotson with 65. I thought he was really good. Jeudy, of course, had the big touchdown at the end. Offensive line was solid. They allowed their fair share of sacks, but more so on Shedeur than the blocking. Defensively, we've got to send more pressure. Really quiet game from Myles Garrett, but a lot of turnovers. Titans had 2 interceptions. We had 3 to go along with the fumble forced and recovered by Asante Samuel Jr. Let's take a look at our weekly recap across the rest of the NFL here for Week 14. I also want to point out nobody got hurt, which is good because we had a lot of guys get banged up throughout the game, but nothing long-term. So we will start in Cleveland. The Browns, who for much of the year looked like one of the worst teams in the NFL, are starting to figure some things out. This unbelievable touchdown from Shedeur Sanders to Jerry Jeudy with under a minute to go leads the Browns to the win, 31-24. Second win in a row for Cleveland, who's now 4-9. The Titans, meanwhile, dropped to 7-6. We'll see if they stay in the playoff picture after the loss. Steelers and Ravens. Baltimore can basically clinch the number 1 seed with a win, let alone the division. However, it's the Steelers who would hand them just their second loss of the year, 20-17. Quiet game for the Ravens standards offensively. I wouldn't panic if I was Baltimore. They still lead everybody in the AFC by multiple games. And then Bears-Packers for first place in the NFC. Caleb Williams looks to throw, and he's picked off. Andrew Cooper on the screen with the pick six. The Packers win at 28-14. As much as I hate to admit it, the Packers got one with Edgerrin Cooper. That guy is a baller. He might be a top 5 linebacker in the league at minimum already. He is the real deal. I also want to mention some other storylines we're going to look out for before we simulate. We're certainly trying to win games, but that doesn't mean we can't root for the teams at the bottom of the standings to help out our draft pick. Jets, Saints, Panthers, Colts, who have really begun to struggle. They are all possibly QB-needy teams. And then, of course, Jacksonville. We need them to lose. Jacksonville plays Indy, so go Colts. Well, I've got some good news and bad news. The bad news is Jacksonville scored 42. Not only do they win, which is bad, but the Colts losing is also bad. The good news is both New Orleans and the Jets won, which means we are still tied for the worst record in the NFL at 4-9. It's a 6-way tie. The problem is we would have the 6th pick. Whatever the tiebreaker is, we're at the bottom of the list with teams like the Vikings, the Panthers, and the Colts now ahead. I don't think Minnesota would draft a quarterback, but the other 4 teams probably would. So in that scenario, unless we move up to number 1, we're not getting one of the QBs, which maybe that's what we want. Maybe with Shedeur Sanders playing well, we're comfortable with sticking it out with him. Jordan Love, Edgerrin Cooper, Nick Mullins, and TJ Watt win the Players of the Week. Next episode, I think we've got a doubleheader. The Bears coming off an unfortunate loss against the Packers, and then the Bills, who are currently the number 2 seed, leading the AFC North. All 4 of our final games are against teams fighting for playoff spots. We've also got Pittsburgh and the Bengals to end the year as well. Hope everyone enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new. Peace out.